Hi, my name is Sean Olson. This is a video on showing you how to do some basic texture animations and get them into the source engine. We're going to cover two types of animations. One is animated textures, where the pixels are actually changing over time, and we're going to do another one that you probably know of as scrolling textures. So in the scene, we have two objects that need animated textures. One is going to be this road texture. We're going to scroll it along to make it feel like the road is speeding past underneath you, even if you're at a static point. And the other one is we're going to animate this lava to kind of throb in the glowing over time. So first we're going to start with the scrolling texture. This is done inside of the bitmap node. So I'm opening up Slate and I'm going to the bitmap texture. And once I have this selected, I'm going to go to this coordinates rollout right here. Next, we need to do the animation. We need to animate this texture over time. So for this, I want the rate of change to remain constant throughout the animation. So I'm going to make sure I turn on a linear interpolation between my animation keys. I'm going to hit Auto key, and I'm going to go from frame 0 to frame 32. And I need this one to offset on the V for this texture. So I want it to offset by 1. So if I go back in time, you'll see here it's playing, so it will go at a certain rate. If I wanted it to go faster, I could have changed that rate. This is what we're going to do for now. And then all we have to do is open up Wallware Model Tools, pick our model, hit Export VTFs, and hit Export Selected. It's going to export my texture and my VMT, which is the material. So if I open up the VMT directory here, and then I open up this VMT file that it made, open up the file, you'll see that it added some proxies, a proxy to this VMT. This says the angle and the rate of scrolling of this texture. And that's all you need to do. So if I export this model, it'll now have a scrolling texture that will just play as it's there on the road. So if you have a platform here that's, say, a static truck, but the truck is facing the road, and it will look like the road is going underneath it. It'll feel like it's moving along. Now let's look at this other material, the lava. So this simple volcano is composed of multi-material. One of them is a substance-driven lava. It's a standard basic lava substance that comes with 3ds Max. And the other one is the same substance, but I've added some of the glow to the texturing. And that glow is what we're going to animate. And I actually want the interpolation on this one to be slow, so it eases into the change of the glowing. We have a temperature of 1 right now, and if I bring that temperature down, you see it's dark. So if I want it to glow and then kind of throb in the way it glows, I can change this value over time. So that's what we're going to animate here. So we always want it to stay a little bit glowing. So we'll have it at 50.5 to start with. That gives a little bit of a glow. We're going to turn on Auto key here. And I'm going to, we probably don't need a lot of frames for this. We can change the sequence, the frame rate at which it transitions. So we're going to set this to temperature 1 and then temperature 0.5. So now you can see it's changing over time. It's going from 0.5 to 1 and back down to 0.5. So that will create the throbbing effect. Next thing we need to do is render this as a sequence of images. So I'm going to right click this. Notice that I'm right clicking the output node of the diffuse slot. I hit render map. And for this, we're choosing 512 by 512, and I want this range to be from 0, so I went from frame 0 to 10. So I'm going to go to frame 10. And I need to choose an output for this. I'm going to call it glowing lava. Glowing lava. Choose TGA. Make sure I do not have the alpha channel. Alright. And save. And now if I hit render, it's going to render out about 10 frames where it's changing in the brightness. Now what we want to do is go to add a new bitmap. We have to create what's called an IFL file. We can do that by going to the rendering menu and go down to compare media in RAM player. We're then going to open frame 1 of this and make sure we have sequence right here, so it will find all of the sequences in this list. Open. Now once it did this, if we can hit play here, we can see that it changes, and it's going very fast, but that's fine. We're going to use a slower frame rate. Once it did that, we can double click our bitmap, choose a path for it, and notice that an IFL file was created. It's the same name as our first frame, except it's .ifl. We choose it, hit open, and we want to pipe that into the diffuse slot of our material. Now I don't want this to output into a folder named map42, so I'm going to go up here and copy the path that I want this to export to and paste it in here as the path for this bitmap. That's good. Now to export this, we'll go to Wallworm Model Tools, click our model here. So now we just hit export VTFs. And you're going to see two materials in this case. And we're going to see one of them that it has a funny name. It has a 0 at the end. This 0 is normal. It's the way it has to be named with these animated textures. Go ahead and hit export selected textures. I'm going to see a few windows here, and one of them is a long one that has that will take quite a while, and this is the one that's converting all of the sequences into an animated texture. And in some versions, like in CSGO, it does it twice. It defaults to creating two versions of the texture, and you can always delete the one that is not needed. Alright, it's done now. Now that we've exported it, if we open up our VMT-dir, we can open up our glowing lava, and you'll see that there's a proxy block that has the base texture, and to animate the frame and to play it at 30 frames per second. If we want to change this value inside of max, what we can do is open up our texture, go to the time rollout, and change the rate. In this case, if I want it to play 1 frame per second instead of 30 frames, I'm going to change this to 0.03, 1 divided by 30. And now if I re-export this, just choose the VMT, and now if I open up, you'll see that it's less than 1. So that will control the rate at which it will play. Again, my name is Sean Olson. You can learn more about me and my work at seanolson.net. You can always get the latest versions of Wallworm and all the other Wallworm tools at wallworm.com. Please remember to subscribe and show your support of Wallworm. Thank you, and have a good day.